And the problem is we have engineers, people coding, trying to make software for people in the home services that have never done it. And so they engineers over engineer things. And that's why when people look at new software, especially in the home service space or anywhere, they just want to take a nap.
Chad Peterman here, and you are listening to Can't Stop the Growth, a platform for leaders and teams to grow and thrive. We highlight the importance of personal development, pursuing greatness, and always chasing your potential. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Can't Stop the Growth. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and today I have a guest on here who blends two things that I think can get a little bit messy when we think about scaling a company. How do we integrate technology within the company, but also work to scale our companies efficiently? Our guest has been a home services entrepreneur and now currently serves as the Chief Revenue Officer of LiveSwitch. We'd like to welcome James Hatfield to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, James.
Thanks, Chad. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. As we were talking before we got going, kind of looking into listening to some of the episodes that you've done and reading a little bit more about your background. I think that this is going to be a conversation that provides a lot of useful information for our listeners. As I said at the beginning, as it relates to technology, how you guys at LiveSwitch are really kind of, really changing the game there. I told you before, I'm going to ask a lot of selfish questions because I'm very interested in this software. But I guess before we get started, maybe give listeners a little bit of your background and kind of things of that nature.
Yeah, as Chad said, I used to own and operate painting and power washing companies. I didn't really come from much blue-collar family. Grandfather didn't graduate high school. Father, self-made guy, built his own home. So I knew how to work with my hands. And so when I graduated high school, it was like, all right, I got to put food on the table. Let me do what I know. And like most folks, like we're good at doing something and we become accidental business owners. You know what I mean? So then it's like, oh, I got staff, I got teams, I got to understand the books. And I'm going into the bookkeeper and they're speaking English to me. And I'm like, I don't understand what y'all are talking about. I was like, that's probably not good. And so I was like, all right, time to go back to, in that case, when college was affordable, state school, learn accounting, learn business, bring that back to my business, take care of my teams. But that changed everything for me. After graduating, I actually got off a ladder and got into technology somehow. But I made the big switch from the ladder to technology. And I know we'll talk more about that, but went from home service guy to tech nerd. So I'll give you my lunch money later, Chad.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit, let's start off kind of in that home services space. Like what were some of you mentioned the challenge of, not understanding all the parts of the business or more so probably not knowing what you don't know. What were some of the challenges that you faced early on and how did you try to, kind of work to overcome those?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you're always going to have a challenge finding good people. I don't care what business you're running, people, and including ourselves, are the problem, right? We get in our own way, and learning how to grow sometimes depends on how well we can build up others and how well we're willing to put our hands on the plow when we need to do that. So, finding good people, retaining good people. Obviously, for me, the budgeting side, the business side was tough. I was always good at making beautiful things, but making a house shine in a good way. And then I had to understand the books so I could make sure we weren't running a nonprofit. I wanted to make sure my business had its ducks in a row. And there's so much more to learn, than just what your trade is. So I think being humble, learning to where those holes are, listen not only to your team, but surround yourself with good people. I had good people around me telling me where the holes in the boat were. So I think plugging those different pieces really can help me to scale and grow a company that was profitable. And it also is a business that didn't always depend on me. Like I could actually take on a vacation most of the time. I could have done better at scaling the sales side of it when I was in home services. I tend to take on a lot of sales and customer relationship stuff and let my guys work. And I probably would have done something differently around the sales side that I did differently than my tech companies, which we can talk about. But, those are some of the lessons learned when in the ground and pound of home services.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's kind of great background as we think about a lot of these technology solutions and do they solve a problem? Are the people that are coming up with them, are they familiar with the problems that, these companies are running into? Have they spent time in it? And so I think your background probably lends itself to providing a little bit more, kind of instructional advice is like, hey, I know you're going through this because we are, or we did, better said. But when you think about, the home services, obviously you're kind of blending that kind of blue collar kind of, and then with the business side of things and trying to mesh those. How did you work to kind of foster that relationship between maybe the guys that were going out and doing the hard work versus this is what the business needs, and kind of balancing all that? I feel like that's, for me, that's one of the tougher things of like trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, I think it's a balance, like knowing what people are good at and what they're not good at, and trying to, bring forward the stuff that they kick butt at, and then the other stuff where we ask our guys to do more than they even want to do. Like some of my guys are introverted; they don't want to do any customer service. They don't want to talk to the customers. They want to get on property, do their job, do a good job, and frankly, put headphones in and and get to work. But if I had to approach a guy and say, "Hey, look, man, you can't just be so introverted. Say hi to the customers, upsell them on this, do that." It'd be like telling my accountant bookkeeper to get on a ladder and get the sprayer going, and let's get the eaves taken care of. Like it's just not right. And when you're smaller, you do have to wear more hats. And I think if you're a dynamic owner, that's super helpful. But also knowing where you're weak at, like maybe you suck at a certain part of the business, and you got to go and, like I said, I had to go and educate myself while keeping the wheels going. And that's always difficult too. I can't just stop the train any week because I got salaries to pay, I got kids to feed. So it's finding that balance too of putting people in the right spot, in the right place, and then uplifting people when you see that talent. Like, oh, well, this person's not only good on the operations side, they're going to kick butt on the sales side. And maybe I can make myself redundant in people. And I know when I got into the software space, I was able to really grow and be one of the fastest growing companies for 3 years in the United States because of redundancy, learning how to transfer skills to people quickly and get out of my own way and teach people to do the same thing and check your title at the door. But also knowing not to stretch people so thin where I've asked them to do something that, frankly, it's just not a good look for the company, the person, and it makes them want to quit. And some people just quit because I put them in the wrong spot. So having that social EQ and business acumen to really do that, I think takes some eyes on the field, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit more, because I think this is something that a lot of business owners are trying to figure out, right? It's like, I get that I need to teach people in the business how to do the things that I know how to do, so that I can then, kind of not work in the business, work on the business. We've all heard that term before. What was kind of your methodology, if you will, for getting that information to people? Like, did you have a system? Was it what did that look like? Or maybe how did that evolve is probably the better answer. No one goes in with the perfect solution and like we just executed. You're always kind of learning and kind of shifting. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I think first it's understanding what you need to bring to the business. Like we all love to talk about working on the business, but am I educating myself as a business owner? Really, to work on your business, you need to bring things that work. If you start tinkering with your business and doing laboratory experiments with your business, it's a great way to blow that thing up pretty fast, right? So if you take the time, like I would recommend a book right now, Making Money is Killing Your Business. Start there. Learn how to step back, look at all the process of your business from point to point, from that first handshake to the last handshake to the future handshakes, on the sales side or on the operational side. How am I transferring knowledge to my guys so they know what work to do? Am I bidding this the right way? Right. So starting with that, Making Money is Killing Your Business book will help you to start thinking about what they call freedom mapping and documenting your process. I know for a lot of business owners, don't care what business you're running, documenting your process for some of us makes us want to take a nap. We're like, I'd rather like do anything than that. But what you don't understand as a business owner, when you document your process and you start empowering your people to own that process and make that process better, now that you've documented your process, when you hire new people, you can hand that off. If you ever want to sell your business, you're totally making your business worth way more money by doing these types of things. And then you can document not just in Word alone, which you should, but you can document it in a video, in photos. There's other ways to really document this to transfer that knowledge to your team. And I think learning how to do that, surrounding yourself with mastermind groups with other people that are doing it, and then starting to work on your business with the right things and learning how to pace yourself. Don't wear your team out. Like, hey, this next 3 months, we're going to work on this. This next 3 months, I'm taking, Joe and Bob, and we're working on sales together, and pacing yourself, knowing you can't flip your business overnight and you're going to wear your team out. So you got to learn how to pace, how to know what to work on, and then the order of operations on what's the most valuable thing. Like when we're updating our home, right, for sale, we know we need to paint that thing. And if I'm going to dump any money anywhere, I dump it in the kitchen, because if I update the kitchen, I'm going to get the most money out. We don't always know how to do that on our business. Like, where are the most valuable pieces for me to work on it? And sometimes we don't even think about the exit side of it. So it's a lot, I know. And if you don't know, you're like, I don't know how to do any of that. Well, it's time to get around some people that do. And there's plenty of mastermind groups, coaches out there that are worth their weight in gold. And I would want to encourage people to go after that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of really valuable points. I think one that I'd like to kind of expound upon is this whole video concept. The one thing that I've learned is that, the SOP is only as good as the person running its understanding of how that fits into the bigger picture. Like simply just drafting an SOP and saying, do this, without any context behind it, usually results in poor results. Like it usually results in people being frustrated as to, well, why in the heck do I got to do it like this? And so what we've really tried to do, or what we've really leaned into, is kind of video. So you have a documented SOP, everybody understands it, but then using video, and it can be short, 2-3 minutes, but giving like a perspective of like, hey, we're doing it like this because we think it results in a better customer experience. The more customers that we get, we can start to do these things, like giving them the business picture. One of the things that I do the most is, as these businesses grow, they can become complex, and you get silos of, these people answer the phone, these people are in accounting, these people are in sales, operations, so on and so forth. And like being able to connect the dots for people as to, yes, you have a specialized role, but we can't silo ourselves to the point of like, you don't understand what that impacts across the business.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And how we document matters, right? Not everyone's a good Hemingway where they can just wordsmith everything.
Yeah.
Some of us don't even like to write things out. So we ask our team to write things out. They're like, hey man, that's just not my bag, or I forgot, or all those things. So having something that's an easy way to communicate and an easy way to pass that communication on down the line, from when the salesperson sold it to the operations team looking at what was sold, to the finished product, to customer testimonials. And you can start flowing, video documentation throughout everything. And it's so much easier and sometimes than just writing everything down. Although I would say we all want redundancy. So you should definitely not only have video, write things down as well. Because, two is one, one is none. And that's a saying that when you're going out in the woods, I hiked a lot of the Appalachian Trail. If you bring one lighter into the woods and you lose that sucker, you are in a bad way. So you bring two lighters into the woods. That way, if you lose one, you still got it. So having points of redundancy and, duplication in your business isn't always bad, especially when it comes around communication and documentation.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you guys, like in the painting and power washing space? I'm guessing that, you had a sales guy potentially go out and he's, selling the job. And I would assume that video was probably a really powerful tool. I know we use it when it comes to, when it comes to really all jobs of, just the salesperson taking a video and narrating in the back of like, hey, the plan is to go this way, and then we're going to go that way, and watch out for this over here in the yard. I marked it with paint, whatever it may be. How did you guys kind of do that?
Well, I'm going to date myself, right? Because a lot of stuff I did was the old school techniques, but you can apply software on top of the old school techniques. So nothing's really new under the sun. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
stuff's just good business acumen. But for us, at that time, I had, you remember the white paper, the yellow and the pink, the carbon
Oh, yeah.
copy? Oh yeah, man. So when I went around and I'm walking around with the homeowner, I'm documenting everything. I've got things that we're going to do. I'm going to write on it. I'm going to have a map of the house, and then I give a copy to the customer, a copy to admin, and a copy to my team. Right. And that's done now, obviously, with software, but knowing how to communicate to the customer, communicate to my administration side, and communicate to my operational side is key, and keeping everybody on the same page. So my operational team knows what my sales team sold, and then it keeps the customer. Well, you said that you were going to paint my shed as well. And I'm like, well, it's not on the spec sheet. You know what I mean? And so now that we're documenting things with video, documenting things in our CRMs, we're keeping our customers accountable. We're also keeping our salespeople accountable when they're trying to sell world peace just to get that next deal over the line. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, we don't do all that, and we definitely don't do it for that price unless
Yeah.
you want to get your buns out here and do the work. So that accountability piece and passing that communication across everybody, and then having you as an the admin, I would call more of sometimes the leadership side, the management side, the administration side, watching over everything. So those three pieces can keep everybody right on point to deliver the job that we sold.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, so you're in home services, you're in the painting and power washing space, and then you make the kind of the switch to kind of the software side. So tell me a little bit about how, as you described yourself, hey, I knew I need to go work hard, and this is how you get it done. To kind of migrating over to the software side of things.
Yeah, I never expected to migrate, but after I got out of going to state school and learning the business and accounting, I met a guy who was graduating from Duke University with his MBA who actually created a technology that could solve the problem I had, which was taking the income statement and balance sheet, putting it through a system. This was before AI and all the LLM stuff that I was talking about, and it would read it and tell me in plain language how I was performing and how I compared to other people in my industry. And I was like, this is awesome. I was like, man, this is a great technology. He's like, do you want to sell it? I'm like, well, I could give it a shot. I'm pretty good at sales. So I hop in and we take that company from nothing, like an incubator. It's just me and, boom, from day one, we're running and gunning and we become one of the fastest growing companies in America for 3 years straight. And then from there, we end up growing the company so large that we exit with KKR, and it's a multi-billion-dollar company with a B now. So that worked out really well. And when we got out of that, we got into philanthropy, got into things. We have an organization called Inmates to Entrepreneurs. We're putting incarcerated men and women through our entrepreneurship programs because we believe in second chances as well as teaching people how to be business owners. That resulted in an ABC television show called Free Enterprise. My business partner is actually a star of a show. I still can't believe he's a TV star, which is ridiculous. But then we went in and we were like, hey, let's get back into technology. And so instead of starting from scratch, we found a company and we looked at hundreds of them. They were out of Vancouver, Canada, but we brought the company into Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's a 16-year-old company. And then I got involved in live video, and I never expected to be there. And there's a journey there and a story I'm sure we're going to talk about here of how full circle from buying this company and getting back into the trades and how we're starting to disrupt not just the trades, but all kinds of businesses all over the world. So looking forward to talking about that. But it was total happenstance that got me off the ladder. But I've been able to bring that home service thought into the technology space and design technology and software that I know that a guy living on a ladder like I used to, that will work for. Because it's a little different. I make fun of my engineers. I'm like, you guys all have soft hands, man. You never spend a day, on a ladder. You don't know. And the problem is we have engineers, people coding, trying to make software for people in the home services that have never done it, and so they over engineer things. And that's why when people look at new software, especially in the home service space or anywhere, they just want to take a nap because they're like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to go back to college just to learn how to, run this dang thing. So I keep a lot of that stuff in mind too as we design things.
No, that's awesome and great perspective. I think the softwares that we have used and found really beneficial are the ones where either the founder spent time, in development stage in a side of business, like, hey, I'm just going to build this alongside watching your people do this. Or people who, their parents were in the trades or, whatever, like they have an understanding and appreciation for like, this can't be super complicated. Like that a software engineer is not going to be using said product. This is going to be someone who really doesn't even want to use software, but if it makes life easier, then okay, I'll give it a shot.
That's exactly right. I mean, everyone wants to call like home services as an example, the knuckle draggers of technology. I'm like, no, they're not. You just suck at designing software and you don't know your people, right? Like we do use tech. Every guy I know on, modern home service teams, all have a smartphone in their pocket. I think they give you one when you're born, right? And there's certain apps they use and they like. And I mean, back in my day, we had Nextel walkie-talkie. Right, I love that thing. It was one button press. I could talk to anyone on my team anywhere. I have no idea what happened to that, but I love like now my truck starts with one push. Now my sprayer starts with one pull, and it gets the job done. It's purpose built. I don't actually really care what the engine is doing inside of my paint sprayer or my power washer, as long as this thing works when I pull the cord. That's what I need to know. And the same thing happens with any kind of technology. Like a guy who's trying to build a home or do home services doesn't really care how it works under the hood. It just needs to work every time and be dead simple. And so that's just the kind of mentality that I like to bring in designing. And in fact, it keeps me on my toes. Like when I was running the painting company, we were painting a house head to toe, and a neighbor, because we were doing a residential job that time, came over. Was like, "Hey, I don't need a full paint job, but my house hasn't been washed in a while. Would you guys wash it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll send a guy over. Here's how much it's going to be." He loves it because we're here in the South. It's hotter than Hades down here, and they're out there playing with water guns, clean the house up. And I'm like, man, the margin on that is incredible. So that's launched into my power washing company because I saw the margins, and I loved it. And so listening to the customer, being able to stay light on toes. Now, not trying everything. We got some home service guys or business owners that the next new shiny thing comes, and all of a sudden you're doing 20 different services, and you're like, that's wearing your team out. But you need to learn how to pivot. So another story example is in this company, LiveSwitch, where I work. I started off building technology. I love building things, and so we had the chief of police in Washington D.C. knock on our door to help reinvent the 911 phone call. We've been in business 16 years. We do all kinds of stuff. We did the Super Bowl the last 3 years. Like if you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code, they put you on a jumbotron. We did all that. Like during COVID and the NBA bubble, we powered all those. So we are a video communications company platform. So when the chief of police came, I had to think about how can I get in to your cameras when you're compromised as a citizen. You have no time to download an app. There's no training time. It has to be so simple that someone who's compromised can use it. And I came up with the idea, oh, we'll just send a text. You'll tap it and we'll tap right into your cameras. You'll point the camera at the situation, and that live feed will go right to the police car, fire truck, or emergency medical so they can see what they're driving into. And so that was like, well, I wonder who else could use this. And of course, that led me back into home services because it reminded me of the Nextel walkie-talkie. Rather than just hearing my guys, now I can see what they're seeing or a customer is seeing, and we're starting to weave live video throughout everything. And so the point is for everyone listening is keep your eyes up on the field. You might need to pivot or tweak your business a little bit to find where you're supposed to really set off and get that, growth because you just pivoted just an inch to the left and you're like, okay, boom, there's where all the money was. It's kind of like the promised land was always right there, guys. It's right there, and you're banging your head against the wall, and all reason why your moneymaker was just always right there. But you got to keep your eyes up and you got to listen to your customers and find the money.
Yeah,
So to
no, that
speak.
makes a whole lot of sense. So let's dive into kind of LiveSwitch. So obviously, just from that kind of intro, you guys do a lot of stuff. The bulk of our listener base is home service based. How are people utilizing your software in kind of the home service space?
Yeah, they use it the whole way across. So we think about it as the customer buying experience, right? So if someone needs a plumber near me, right, the toilet won't stop running. What do? They go to Google, right? Usually they write plumbers near me. The list comes up. If they don't already have a plumber, they're looking for who has the most stars. They go to the website. They either tap on a button to request a quote or most likely call your phone number, right? So the first thing that everyone needs to do is pick that phone up. I literally was on stage in Orlando a couple months ago, secret shopping, power washing companies on stage. And I called the one with 766 5-star reviews, rang 9 times and went to voicemail. What a shame. 766 5-star can't pick up phone, right? So we want to start right there. Pick up that dang phone and say hello, right? And I hope everyone's doing that well because not everyone is. And if you don't trust me, secret shop your business, secret shop your competitors and see who's picking the phone up. So from there, what typically happens on any home service business is, hey, what problem are you having, right? They're talking to someone in your sales team, call center, dispatch, you're writing notes, and then you're dispatching someone like, yep, I'll send somebody out. And you're paying someone hourly. They're driving across town, they're wear and tear on your vehicle, and you're just hoping to make that sale happen, right? Sometimes you get on property, you tell a person the number and you're like, oh, I'm just going to get 2 pizzas and all my friends and we'll do that. Or I'll use you as free advice. Right. So the idea was I met this guy in the moving industry, moving boxes. I'm showing him my emergency response stuff. He's like, hey, James, you're sitting on a gold mine. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know what I'm going to use this for? Virtual estimating. So when someone calls my business, I'll send them a text. They can show me around. And now I get one of 3 things. One, the person who's just kicking tires, when I give them a quote, they're like, oh, heck no. Well, that prevented us from driving out. 2, people that have researched, they got the money, they want the leak stopped, or they want the move done. They don't need me to really come out on site. Just tell me how much is it? When can you be out here? Boom. And then the third one is oh, wow, they got money, maybe big money, maybe it's a big commercial job. Now I've seen it and I'm going to drive out. So that's the first stop with LiveSwitch, and with what we're doing is virtual selling, and we're doing it in all industries. I mean, I got electricians, plumbers, painters, power washers, you name it, and they're using this as the first stop in the virtual sales spot, and that's the first place it's landed. And that's our most popular spot, and it's tuned up for like third-party assistance. This ain't no FaceTime call. So like when someone answers, it doesn't matter if they're on an Android, iPhone, your sales team, doesn't matter if they're on a PC, Mac, whatever, tablet, their own phone. I got a bunch of guys that work out of their trucks. And for the homeowner, it's the reverse of a FaceTime call. They see themselves big and me small, or salesperson small. The salesperson has a virtual background up, and now they're walking around the property. Everything's getting recorded. We have laser guidance. You can like laser guide people. No, go that way, go left, stop, take remote photos, sharing the screen if you need to walk through a bid, and everything gets recorded to pass it on to your sales team. Or if someone's like, I need to talk to my spouse, well, why don't you have them watch the video of what we're going to do? And we're just getting warmed up here, but that's the first spot where we really starting to disrupt the home service industries.
Yeah, I like that. We do a version of this. So, a technician goes out to the home, identifies that the customer would like to get a quote for a new system, essentially. Rather than in the typical fashion, you would send a salesperson out there after the fact and so on and so forth. And what we've learned is speed is the key. And so we have what we call virtual comfort advisors that basically just sell new systems through Zoom. And it's been hugely impactful because of the speed at which we can get something sold, get everything gathered up, and get the job complete. But I like this from just maybe a different aspect of, people who aren't sure what is wrong. So can we talk to you? Can we talk you through it? Maybe it's something simple too. Like, I think that, you bring up a good point. If it's just the breakers tripped, well, you're not going to be I've got to charge you so many dollars to roll that truck, and you're not going to be really happy when I tell you, your breaker was turned off. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It's not a high volume dollar for your business either. Like maybe you satisfied someone, but that totally could have been done virtually. You name it, whether it's a breaker. I just had a guy in my house yesterday for HVAC with our Nest thermostats. If I had a problem with just that, yeah, hit the on button, my man. That can all be done to prevent those callbacks, which are the most expensive calls in the business. A callback, especially if it's for something nominal, or even if it's preventing. That wasn't a big sale opportunity for us. To your point, the breaker box.
We get, I would say, one of our highest like warranty calls. It's not even really a warranty. It's just, our installers spend all day out at a customer home, probably finishing up around 6:30 at night. People are getting kids all ready, dinner, all of this. And meanwhile, we're trying to explain to you how to use this brand new system and thermostat. Well, retention is not super high at that moment when everybody's in the house and things are going crazy. And so we get a lot of like recalls on like, I don't know how to use this new thermostat that you put on the wall. Like, how could I do that? Like, to me, this would be the perfect all right, perfect. I'm going to flip it on. I'm going to walk you through. You're going to do it. And I'm just going to walk you through how to, set it, program it, do all of the things.
That's right. And in addition to that, we're also training and teaching. I do a lot of training and teaching and business coaching for modernizing business. And we're training people also how to make that follow-up process and that recurring revenue process even better, right? Like claiming our homes. Like we have a QR code feature where you can put your brand of your business. We always recommend putting your phone number and then a QR code and make it a sticker. And you want to place it on what you service. So if you're an electrician, put it on the back of the breaker box. My HVAC teams are putting on their HVAC units outdoors. These are weatherproof stickers. You got your plumbers putting it, on the water heater under the lid of the toilet. And what we're trying to do is, one, we're trying to box out Google. I don't want someone Googling HVAC repair near me ever again. I want them to go to, whether it's their thermostat or the unit or wherever, see my logo, and then you can scan the QR code and even take a video of the problem. So now the video is coming right up to me. So when my team calls, they've already looked at it and they can say either diagnose the issue quickly or decide, oh, we're coming out, or oh, we got something big going on, or actually that's an easy fix, but it's still going to require a service call and doing virtual selling. we're trying to claim commercial property and residential property with these stickers while using live video to enhance the customer experience. Customers want things fixed immediately. Nobody likes waiting in line. That's why everyone's an Amazon Prime customer, right? They don't want their boxes in 2 weeks. They want their boxes overnight. The same thing happens with home service. You're on the clock. It's called speed to lead. And now we're calling it race to the face, because we know the face of a human and that human connection has the highest close rates. Also, it takes a pissed off customer down, because keyboard courage, when they're talking to your AI robot, people get real pissed and they'll say stuff on the phone. They'll yell at your team. But if they can see your team face to face through that, it tends to, one, bring down the level of pissed off or increase the level of close rates. And now you can see what the customer sees and you can diagnose things, and they don't have to wait around, get the kids in line, do all that stuff. People hate that. So if you're convenient, which is the number one thing, you're fast and you get that fixed and now you claim it, these are the types of things on the customer end that makes the huge piece. And while you got your guys out there, if you got a junior tech out and they're like, oh crap, I don't know how to fix this, now they can video and live video with the senior tech. And you might even have your senior tech doing more office hours, watching over the juniors, or your project managers saving those trips in the truck. Windshield time is the killer of all bottom lines, right? So like the less we can do that, the more money I'm putting in my company's back pocket as well. So these modern systems, now that everybody has a cell phone, you got to use them now. And so the problem is there's no companies out there with live video. We're only one of 4. So now you're finding us under the hood of ServiceTitan, under the hood of Jobber, under the hood of HubSpot, because we are the live video company, and that's where we're coming in, disrupting everything.
So let's take a listener through kind of that, because I think what you're talking about is hugely beneficial and applicable. So let's just say we use the QR code. I put it on the water heater. Customer wakes up, water's not getting hot. I go down to the water heater. I scan this code, potentially take a video of like, hey, it's leaking out of the bottom. Like, this isn't good. I think this is my problem, whatever it may be. So it's leaking, all of this stuff. And most of our listeners are probably on ServiceTitan. So they take that, they send it. Tell me like how does that work?
Yep. I'm going to talk you through it if you're a ServiceTitan person or not. So if you're a ServiceTitan person, we're just baked right under the hood. So if you want to start a live call or request a call, because sometimes maybe you don't need to see it. Or if it's after hours, or it's not a big deal, or if it's you can just send a text, person can tap it at their convenience, and then take a video. But if it's that live call, you just tap it. It has the video. After the video is done, because you're snapping photos, it's all just going to the cloud. Nothing's ever stored on your device or the customer device. And actually, if anyone ever worries, it doesn't feel safe, it's actually SOC 2 certified. Department of Defense uses our stuff. The live video call that we have is safer than the phone call. You're like, well, actually, the phone call we're on right now is not as safe as if we just transitioned over. So, they're getting on there. They're seeing that video either live or recorded. And then your technicians are, making a determination. Especially, I've got a lot of serve pros and restoration companies where people are like, it's DEFCON 5 over here. And you're like, just turn off your water. We don't need to send the cavalry out at 2 a.m. It'll save some money for you. And it prevents your guy from having to drive out at 2 a.m. and get out the bed, right? Even though they might make a little more if it's not DEFCON 5, especially if you're offering that 24/7 service. So you're starting to do that, and everything's getting documented. So maybe it's dispatch, or maybe it's your sales team. Now they can literally just share the link or the ServiceTitan record, right? In this case, it's right in ServiceTitan. Someone can watch the video, know what they got to take out. Maybe it's like, oh crap, this is a 3-story building. I need a larger, ladder or whatever it might be, right? So it lives there. If you don't have ServiceTitan, you can just use the LiveSwitch platform, and all this can happen through there. So you got options. So, and it's dead simple. It's all one-click options. Nothing's one click for the customer, one click for your team. I mean, training's 5 minutes. So, we're just teaching you how to weave it in to each process. Here's how you weave it into sales. Here's how you weave it into operations. Here's how you weave it into getting video customer testimonials. Here's how you're using all the videos on your Instagram, Google Business Profile, put it on your website. Because now these AI and LLMs will look over your entire website and look for real photos and real videos. If you use stock photo, you're actually getting downranked, right? And if your socials have live video, if you're on your Instagrams or Facebook, you're really trying to market, you can start using these videos everywhere. And then you can even mark things training. Like, that's an awesome sales call, or crap, this is a new unit we haven't worked on before. And then you get a new guy coming or someone else, they can just watch those videos of your team
Yeah.
doing the actual work on how we do it here, right? So that's your documentation piece, which also lifts the value of your business. It all just intermingles together. And we just didn't, like, the chief of police, he couldn't have said it better. When I went to chief of police in DC and I'm showing him, he lowers his glasses. This is an older fellow. He's like, James, why don't we have this already? It's so obvious to me. I'm like, Chief, we just didn't all have smartphones in our pocket. Now that we got it, let's take advantage of it. And that's what's happening in the home service space now, that your customers all have it, your team all has it. Let's use it and abuse it in all the right ways.
Yeah. So could it be another use of like, customer calls in, they're not really sure what's going on, and the person answering the phone isn't sure either because they're not getting a really good, like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Would it be just as simple as, hey, let me send you a link and connect you with maybe a technician who can kind of assess what we've got and say, yeah, we need to get somebody out there. Maybe we don't, whatever it may be.
You're spot on. That's exactly right. And a lot of times what could happen is the person can say, hey, just show me video, talk me through your problem. And then that entire video is recorded. They can just send the recorded video to the technician first. They might not even have to call. They might just watch the video and be like, I've seen this a million times. Tell them, this is what's going on. We'll be out there.
Yeah.
I even know how much that is. Like, it's an easy one, right? Or if it's complicated, technician's like, I got no idea. Then the technician would send a text out or decide that actually looks like a major problem. Just send the cavalry, let's go.
Absolutely. I like the training piece of it too. As we've grown, we've kind of created kind of global tech support, and we kind of have like a, technical train of, kind of, what do they call it? Calling tree of like, hey, if you got a problem, you call this number and it's going to ring through all the people that know what the heck to do, so that you can get a hold of somebody. But yeah, I would imagine that there are a lot of instances where people are like, hey, just FaceTime me and turn your camera around and like, show me what you've got. Your platform seems a little bit more cohesive and, you can do different things. So how would you compare it to like a technician and a manager FaceTiming each other? Like, what are the perks of using your platform?
Yeah. Whether you're trying to use FaceTime, Zoom, all the rest, you're not using the right tool for the right job, right? Like, it's just not. Like, it was never designed for that. Like, FaceTime was designed for, mom and dad to watch the grandkids blow out the candles. Zoom is for a conference call for businesses. It's not built for home services. And I know a lot of you who use it are like, yeah, I kind of worked through it, but nobody thoughtfully designed it with you. As an example, I'll tell you why your customers hate this. Zoom, they got to download an app. We don't do apps. No one wants another app. If you ask someone, hey, can you upload photos or videos? Nobody wants to do that. Your guys probably have in their photo reel just taking up all kinds of space on their phone, their personal phone. Maybe you issued it to them. Pain in the butt, and you can't even search that, right? You're like, I forgot what job that was. Safety. Safety's fine in the Zoom and a FaceTime arena, but think about this from a customer's perspective. When you're using FaceTime with your customer, one, you're getting into their social space. So a lot of people don't want to do the FaceTime with you because that's their own social number. And now, same with your salesperson. Now they're giving away their own social, especially the customer gets pissed off. Now they're going to call my FaceTime to my guy. Like, that kind of sucks. But if you did do a FaceTime, the customer now it's looking at you large and them small. And so if they're trying to do remote, even if they flip their camera, they've got to look through something the size of a postage stamp and walk around their property. That's terrible. We actually split it, or reversed it. So now the customer sees himself large and your technician's small. So with people like big glasses like I've got, they can walk around. On the technician side, now they're on their computer. They're seeing them big. They can take remote photos. Like, hey, stop. Let me take a remote photo. We have a laser guidance system. Walk this way. We actually call it the grandma guidance system. Walk that way. Stop there. I need to get the serial number. Let me take a picture. Hey, hold up your driver's license. I can share my screen. All of it gets recorded to the cloud, and it gets, goes to the right place in ServiceTitan or easy to find. Because what happens if your salesperson quits the next day? Now they're taking all those photos and videos on their phone, away. So it's protecting you as the business owner. It's just, you're using the wrong tool for the wrong job. You can do it. I mean, I can power wash something with a brush and a bucket, or I can get my power tool out and get it done in a minute or two. So, and then it's just all recorded as well. It's not even, we're not even on the same playing field. right? When we always affection, hey, when you're ready to graduate to professional tools, professional commercial grade, give us a
Yeah,
call.
no, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I know that it's a frustration for even our technicians out in the field. Like they have an iPad, but when you're in a tight closet or something like that, you can't get the iPad in the damn closet. It sounds like a simple thing, but they've got to end up taking pictures with their phone. And then, some of the guys have figured out how to push the photos over to ServiceTitan and all of this stuff. But some of our older gentlemen, they're like, they're onesie twosie and they're like, this sucks. And I'm like, yeah, the way you're doing it, that is not very good. But with your stuff, it seems like it's very seamless. I just go to one place. I can take video pictures, do whatever I need to do, and it's going to move to ServiceTitan and be on that job so that whoever goes out there has access to all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really found a serious company that's really using FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like they'll use it as a one-off when they have to, but I'm like, of course you're not using it. It's a terrible tool. Like it's not meant for that job, and once we get this on the ground with people, like the owners will be like, James, we went from doing like a virtual call once a month to now where you're like, man, if we have to drive out, we're banging our head against the wall. Like, I wish
Yeah.
I could you're getting all that time back, right? That you're getting the bottom line back and the customers. I mean, so many of
Yeah.
your customers will be like, why doesn't everyone do this? Like this, it'll seem obvious once you have it, but until you really start to implement it in the business, like it's like telling someone who's
Yeah.
never had vanilla ice cream what vanilla ice cream tastes like. I'm like, I can try to explain it, but just eat the dang thing and you're
Yeah,
gonna know it
just
tastes
eat the
great,
dang thing.
especially with some chocolate sauce.
That's
You know?
hilarious. Well, James, I
Exactly.
want to be conscious of time here. I know we're kind of butting up here on the hour, but really can't thank you enough. This is the first time that I've heard of this. As I said at the very outset, I'd let listeners know I was going to ask a lot of selfish questions because I'm very interested in how this can help. I guess for at this point. What is the best way if someone's interested, like, hey, we're using video a lot, this seems like a better solution, like, well, what's the best way for people to learn more about this?
Two things, and I make a promise to Chad and the team that anyone listening to this, I won't farm you off to my sales team. I'll take you directly because you're spending time educating yourself, taking that next step. So one, you can find me on LinkedIn, James Hatfield, look up LiveSwitch, LiveSwitch, or two, go to our website, liveswitch.com, click demo, ask for James. Like I heard, James on the Can't Stop the Growth with Chad. Like I want to talk to him and I will talk to you. I've run businesses. I teach at like different academies and I teach business owners. I used to be one. So we can just have a frank conversation. I'll walk you through everything. And if you make that extra effort, we don't discount our product, but I told Chad I'd give something extra. So I have a special growth 10 code that I will give you that'll even take money off because you spent time doing that. But before you do that, I want to challenge you to do something I bet nobody listening will do. But hey, I'm just going to try it. What Chad and team are doing, I Can't Stop the Growth, is incredible. What you're already doing, listening, whether you're in the truck on the way to a job right now, is incredible. I want to ask you to share this with someone else, not just this show you listen to, not about me. I'm talking about sharing what Chad and team are doing because I'm sure he's not making buckets and buckets of money from this podcast. He's doing it because he cares about his industry. He cares about giving back. And I want to challenge you to share this. And you always hear the like, unsubscribe and smash the like. Forget that nonsense. Like I'm saying, like make your industry better and share what you're learning, even if it's just with your team. Just please do that for me. And I'm going to ask you when I meet you if you did it. If not, I'm not giving you the discount code. How about that? So there you go.
I love it, and can't thank you enough for giving that to listeners. I'm really interested in kind of exploring this for our team and seeing how we may be able to utilize something like this to, as you said at the outset, it's all about the customer experience. How do we make things easier, more efficient, and make them happier is the end, is what we're all after. So how do we utilize technology in the most efficient manner possible, not trying to piece all these things together and it's really clunky. And then by the end of it, we had good intentions. However, those get, kind of entangled and everybody's like, well, that kind of sucked, like I thought it was going to be better. So again, appreciate your time, appreciate you sharing. Thanks for all of your support of home services and the trades. I think we're on a very good path as it relates to technology and how we're leveraging it and hopefully providing a better customer experience for all of our customers. So thanks again. I really appreciate it, James.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG arena. As always, keep growing out there.